Hello, everybody. We will be one of the final episodes. So I guess, well, it wouldn't be pre. I'm gonna say penultimate, but that's the one before the final episode. So I guess it is the kind of finale. I'm pretty sure this will probably be the last one for a while. Regardless, welcome back to another Dead by Daylight creation review. I guess in the title, I can always change it to finale with a question mark at the end of it. Oh, great. There's a lot of static. Because my display driver crashed. It pulled up a bunch of errors. And now I have to reset my sound. If you was wondering why I'm late, by the way, that's the issue that I've been running through. If you was wondering why I'm late, by the way, that's the issue that I've been running through. Cool. Looks like I fixed it. So my radio has been crashing. Driver timeouts, which is causing my computer to act funky and be unable to record anything. And a whole bunch of other things has been going on. So I've been trying to work through this as they pop up. Hopefully, that was the final issue. Oh no. Well, you took care of him, so that's cool. Jeff the Killer's been filed. Chapter concept: The Last Dance. Merry Christmas, Galanonim. Nice to see you. It's only been a couple of days. I can't say it's been quite some time, but it's nice to see you back on stream. I know it's pretty late by you, right? Because generally, you're heading to bed or heading on to other things right now, so I really do appreciate you stopping by. Family stuff during Christmas takes some time. Understandable. Family, well, real life always comes first. It's almost 9 o'clock. Woo! So you are 6 hours ahead of me? That's crazy. Hey, we got somebody that commented on Critical Fish's concept, The Everlasting Conquest. That's with the, yeah, the invader that posts flags and all of that. All right, so let's see what set has to say. Well, I guess I can go over the whole thing again briefly. The killer is the invader. The invader is a conquering killer, using his abilities to keep control over large areas of the map. Very important. His personal perks give him great amounts of strength at the cost of frailty. The heavy man in a suit of armor. His weapon is a machueti, or machueto. Essentially a piece of wood that has a flat piece of wood that has rocks or pieces of metal or anything like that sticking out of it. Speed, default 4.6 meters per second. Tear radius is 32 meters. Tall killer. His power, he can put down landmarks. They each take a second to place, and the flags cannot be placed within 12 meters of a hook survivor. I heard Epic Games give away some games each day during Christmas. Yeah, they do that actually every year. Every day they give you another free game away. What's sad about that is most of the games are generally repeating that they give away every year. So either the devs are like, hey, give my game away again this year, or Epic just rolls the same list. But there's occasionally something good or new that I don't already have in there that I pick up. But yeah, Epic Games is definitely good when it comes to that. I mean, the games are decent games too. Most, well, most are decent games. They're not like, unplayed, like indie games or anything like that. They're actually, well acclaimed. Some. Hmm. Can't remember. I don't even have my Epic open right now. But yeah, I have a lot of games on Epic. It's kind of funny how many free games that they give out. Because they do give out games, what, every other couple days or something like that? They have free games. And they just keep that going throughout the year. Then Christmas, it turns daily. Kind of insane. But I mean, they know what they're doing. They're trying to pull people away from Steam, which kind of rips people off, sadly, especially developers. So, I mean, I understand why most people are switching. And then the Epic exclusive contracts, you get paid so much more by not putting your game anywhere else. So it's kind of a steal for a developer, even though a large majority of people aren't going to see your particular game unless it's huge like Borderlands, which eventually released on Steam later down the road. But starting it off and getting that open day sales on Epic was the way to go. That exclusive contract made them a lot of money. So, I mean, you save a large amount of profits. It's not really anything just to put up an advertisement or something and say, hey, this game's here on Epic. But the primary power is landmark. You can essentially put down up to 3 flags. You cannot place a flag anywhere within 12 meters of a hook survivor, though. And after 3 flags, if you place another one, the last or the first one will disappear. Now, even though you can't place a flag 12 meters of a survivor, the media radius of the particular flag is 24 meters. In 24 meters, the invader moves 0.4 meters per second faster, which brings it from 4.6 to 5 meters per second, and can see the auras of vault points, pallets, totems, chests in yellow, And if a survivor makes a loud noise notification within 24 meters of the flag, or while inside of the flag's radius, they're marked by Killer Instinct for 5 seconds. Survivors can disassemble the flag using a 9-second channel, 6 seconds if multiple or if an additional survivor tries to disassemble it. The invader can see the auras of all flags in white. And this is where the crux of everything comes in, is the secondary power from Vanquisher. Vanquisher charges while chasing a survivor inside of the radius of a flag. It takes 20 seconds of a survivor being chased in that radius for the Vanquisher to be used. After that, holding the active ability button for 3 seconds activates Vanquisher. There's no slowdown, however, a map-wide sound effect is played. While Vanquisher is active, survivors within 8 meters of a flag are marked by Killer Instinct. This lasts for 5 seconds after they are no longer in the radius. The invader moves 1.2 meters per second faster within the radius of a flag rather than 0.4. So now we're up to 5.8 meters per second while in the radius of a flag. The invader moves at 4.6 during his animation after hitting a survivor. Obviously, I didn't record this last time, but after you hit a survivor, you should typically have the usual stun like every other killer has. If not, you should definitely decrease his speed below the survivor's speed, so you can't just hit a survivor and then immediately keep walking and catch back up to them during the stun animation and reclose distance. I don't think I mentioned that yesterday, the day before. Vanquisher lasts a total of 40 seconds, or until there are no flags currently placed on the map. While Vanquisher is active, the invader cannot use landmarks. Don't really worry about add-ons or anything like that. And then we hop to perks. Perks, when a generator is completed, this perk gains 1 token with a max of 2, 3, and 4. For each token, your tear radius is increased by 2 meters. 2 tokens. After a generator begins regressing, your movement speed is increased by 10% for 10 seconds. This doesn't stack. If you run this particular perk with Ruin, you're going to always have the movement speed for the most part. Hello, Critty. Oh, he made add-ons. Yep. He made add-ons. Indeed. As always, add-ons are subject to change as the main concept and everything else changes. But generally, you're going to always have this movement speed because, well, gen regression with Ruin is generally apparent. I mean, if all survivors are working on generators and you're in a chase, then obviously, you know, you're not going to get that speed boost like towards the beginning of the game. But after you get past that beginning loop where you're, you know, chasing survivors off of generators, etc., etc., you're going to generally always have that 10% speed boost. It also takes 2 tokens, so obviously 2 generators are going to have to be completed. So as soon as that pops in, it's going to always be active for the most part. 3 tokens. When a survivor is hooked, all generators are blocked for 10 seconds. 4 tokens. When you hit a survivor with the basic attack, all currently regressing generators begin regressing 100% faster. 5 tokens, you become undetectable. Blank. When a survivor is hit by a basic, well, war cry. When a survivor is hit by a basic attack, all survivors outside of your terror radius scream and become exposed for 40 seconds. This can only be active once per match. And then Hex Challenger. If this is your life now, you might as well enjoy your meaningless fight. When the Hex is cleansed, the survivor who cleansed it has their aura revealed to you during any chase with them for the rest of the match. While in a chase with that survivor, their stuns last 25% longer and they recover from negative status effects 20% faster, but you move 15% faster. I tried to fix that dot, but can't for some reason. You should just be able to either click anywhere past the dot or highlight the dot and just get rid of it. Usually you'll use the the bulleted list that gives you the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can also click on it and just double enter. Well, you'll have to click here and then double enter, and it'll make your next line go away. Double enter gets rid of all active things. So let's go new. We'll go here, here. Let's go bulleted. If you go blah, blah, and then you go blah and you double enter, it generally gets rid of that. I don't know. If the double enter doesn't work for you, then it's bugged. You might want to tell behavior to fix their stuff. Because if you go to the end and you hit enter again, it's going to automatically pop that bullet point back up. So you got to double enter it to make it go away. Maybe the guy that's reviewing your works is doing it to you just to see how much he can annoy you. He's like, hey, I'm gonna click here and hit enter and then save it again. Wouldn't that be funny? So, I mean, it wouldn't be funny, but it would be funny, you know. I have no idea. Ah, I see. Yep, there it goes. But yeah, if your particular vanquisher power lasts for 40 seconds, I don't think that it's necessary to have the invader move at 4.6 meters per second during his animation after hitting a survivor. If you're going to hit a survivor, they're going to get that couple seconds of movement speed, but if you're still able to chase them while they're getting that extra movement speed, they're not going to get very far from you, and you can just immediately slap them again. So I would definitely, again, at least nerf the speed down lower than the survivors are, so they can get some distance plus, the regular. The survivors getting hit they do get a speed boost, so they will get away from you a little bit. But the whole point of the speed boost is for the killer to be stationary, so they get that particular distance that behaviors already determined is acceptable. So I would at least make this below 4 meters per second, so the survivor will get the how fast do they go? It's either 5.4 or like 6 point something. Let me look that up. Survivor hit speed. That don't help me. That's funny. It's really unfair how, after getting hit, survivors just get a free sprint burst that allows them to get to a pallet or an infinite. Somebody actually complained about that in 2019. That's actually insane. There you go. 6 meters per second. Now, for how long? Hmm. Hmm. So, if it is 6 meters per second, I would recommend. I would say recommend. I would suggest making it around half of that. Because if they're getting hit at 6 meters per second for 2 seconds, then I would make the speed your killer goes down to half of that. Just to make it fair for a survivor and them able to actually move away. Because generally, when a killer hits, they run at 6 meters per second for 2 seconds, so that's 12 meters that they can essentially get away from you. If you are able to move half of that, then they're only going to be able to get away about 6 or so meters because you're going to be continuously moving. Plus, once that hit wears off, if you're still inside of the flag, your speed's going to immediately reboost back up for an almost instantaneous hit. So if you hit a survivor anywhere inside of the flag and not near the actual exit, the upper end of it, you actually could potentially down a survivor before they make it through the entire flag, depending on their movement paths and where you hit them the first time, etc., etc. Just based off of that speed boost and the flags being 24 meters. I know it's an effect that's based off time and things like that, but also most things that have, except for Legion always being the exception there. Most killers that have a particular power that involves a time limit have to deal with the cooldown as well. Like Michael Myers tier 3. Granted, he has the boost and lunge ever so slightly. And he can one tap people, but he's also slow at the start and builds up speed. Mm. And then at tier 2, he gets regular speed, and then at the end, bang. I'm trying to figure out the base speed after hitting a survivor. Listen, I'd make it at least half the speed of a Oni was the main inspiration for Vanquisher. Doesn't Oni, after he downs somebody, doesn't he stop and slam his mace a couple of times to show dominance? Almost like teabagging a survivor after he downs them, though. Mhm. Oh, so Galanonim, how was your Christmas? Did you do anything fun or anything like that? Anything special? So, yeah. So, I mean, even Oni having that time pursuit when he downs the survivor or anything like that. It's just kind of a. And Critty says he saw some family and stuff. I think that's what everybody pretty much for the most part did. They did, what you expect people to do on Christmas. That or I generally get the response, I don't know, I just sat at home, got drunk. you know, with the girlfriend or something like that, or I watched anime and got drunk or something like that. And that was my Christmas. I'm like, man, got some new games that I've been playing instead of fixing Bandit. Fair enough. Recreation should come in between projects and during projects. You don't have enough recreation, you're gonna eventually burn yourself out. If you need a highly exaggerated proof of that, play RimWorld and give your colonists no recreation and see what happens. um, Survivor side. At the start of the chase, all action speeds are increased by 8% for 15 seconds. If you stun a killer with the pallet, they'll be slowed by 5% for the next 5 seconds after recovering from the stun. Can be activated only 40 seconds. Clicking active ability allows you to essentially kick killer in face and stun them for 5 seconds, but their action speeds increase by 15%. You are exhausted for 40 seconds. Play with fire. After making a loud noise, you're exposed for 40 seconds, but you also have all action speeds increased by 12% for the same amount of time. Play with fire can only be activated once every 80 seconds. Then we get to what I want to go over. That made this huge paragraph that I haven't had the time to read. I assume you're the one that voted this up, so it must be somewhat worthy. Even having 22 posts, he seems to have done a good job. But let's see what Set has to say, and if I need to add him to my list of people to look out for. I think the killer idea is super well thought out, and the idea of putting down flags like a conqueror is really fun. I read through that comment but haven't altered anything based on it. But you know. So, starting off, he comes in pretty good, says that he likes your idea, things like that. I like that. He ain't coming in saying right off the bat that, hey, this, that, and another is bad. He first lets you know that, you know, everything is well thought of, etc., etc. The idea of putting down flags, and he goes into detail about what he likes. So you can tell that he actually read the concept because he said the idea of putting down flags like a conqueror is really fun. So just at the start, this guy at least knows how to write feedback appropriately. He probably does it as part of a job or something like that. That is one of the proper ways you want to write back feedback. You want to start off, you know, hey, the idea is super well thought out. I like the idea of, and then you take an example from the project, which shows that you generally show interest like that, says that it's really fun, stating what you like about the project, things like that. I love this. This might be a template for a very well thought out and very well said thing if he stays on task. My only question with that is that's where things are starting to go south. You don't say something like that and then say, my only question with that is, or my only problem with that being, it's not what you want to put directly after complimenting someone, because now it's just kind of like almost a backhanded compliment. Yeah, you can count the two, or you can say 2 plus 2 is 4, however, in quantum physics, and then you start going off of something like that. If you go from 1 to 2, you're literally saying, hey, I just gave you a compliment because I'm about ready to go real deep inside of you. I'm about ready to tear your soul out with my next soul crushing statements and things like that. Starts out good, Interim, not very good. Let's see if we can recover. My only question with that is, would the speed effect of the flag stack with other flags? I'd assume yes. I think that's what we came to the other day, was yes. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. Three exists. Three, four, five. I'm just making sure you didn't pop anything down that says that this does not stack to immediately send that. So no, from what I see here, it says nothing about that this effect cannot stack. So you would assume that the effects of different flags could stack. And that's completely fine because you only get three flags. I mean, if you want to set up a dead zone, like in the middle of the map, if you want to put all three flags in one area, that's on you. You're losing speed boost throughout the rest of the map, but, you know, you would get a super speed boost anybody that's running middle. But that does bring up another interesting thing that I never thought of. When a survivor is being affected by said flag, I think that they should get some sort of symbol that pops up that lets them know that they ran into a flag's, effective area or something like that. They should get some sort of either visual notification, or if you want to keep it kind of similar pseudo stealth, a symbol should pop over in the corner saying, hey, you're in this aura. Or you can do like the boon totem effect and just change that to like a red effect or yellow effect or whatever color you want. I think survivors should know when they are going into a dead zone, whether through an add-on that you can add, like an iridescent add-on to, hey, survivors can now see, you know, the auras are now alerted when they enter in the flag's radius or something like that. They can see the bubble. Either make it add-on or something like that. I was thinking of adding a red circle marking the radius of a flag, but didn't think further about it. Yeah, just something to let them know, that they're currently being affected by your conqueror's power. Like I said, it could be something simple as another symbol like the curse symbol. Just something like that with like a sword or something like that. That they actually have to notice that pops up. And then anything else that's specific, past that, can be an add-on, like the red circle on the being on the ground or being on the ground. Could stack as part of like an iridescent add-on or a green add-on or something like that. A rare. But his statement did bring something that I never really thought of as marking, and that's something I generally look past when I do reviews. So he helped a little bit. Flag stacking with other flags, I don't really see that as being a problem because you are essentially cutting your power down significantly for getting speed in one particular area. Because, I mean, it's only 24 meters. Even if you're in the middle of, like, Leroy or, like, Midwich, even if you posted a flag in, every single corner of the courtyard, you still won't have enough range to have flags, overlapping each other. And if you put them all in the circle in the middle, they're not going to extend out far enough to stack over, each other throughout the entire map. I'd say 24 meters is very well met. It also has its strength, like on the artist's map, where you have the three stories and all the other twisted paths. It becomes very strong in that area. However, on the same note, you're wasting everything to buff your speed and all that in the middle. and things like that. So it kind of balances itself out. And it's also a 24-meter radius, so there's essentially a bubble that goes around in that 24-meter radius. So I don't even think you might even be able to reach the top floor unless you put it in a specific spot or towards the top of it and let it go downwards. So I don't see any of that being a huge issue with them being able to stack. And if you do have a problem with it stacking, just make it to where every additional flag stacked and overlapping just increases the base range. So you have 24 meters. If you put two flags together, have it increase to 32 meters or something like that. Or you can make it to where you get 1.5. You know, you start losing efficiency per flag that's stacked. Either or. There's also 1,001 more ways that you can think to apply the multiple flag stacking. But I think it's just fun. I think we lost Galanonim. No, Galanonim. Let's see. So you might be able to just like, you might be able to completely shut down one or two loops with three flags. One or two loops? How are you going to shut down two loops with one flag? Or with three flags? If you can place three flags and shut down two loops, you have done your math and you are a godsend. An actual godsend. But what the downside is, you know, having all flags in one spot. Exactly. But I guess this entire statement gives me something that I don't think I went over the other day as well. The fact that if a survivor destroys a flag, there should be some sort of penalty applied to the killer because the survivor destroyed said flag. So I don't know if it's already there in concept, but I don't remember off the top of my head. So if you do place all three flags into one area and the survivors take out said flags, there should be a cooldown of X amount of seconds before another flag can be put down. It ain't gotta be anything crazy, like a minute. It just makes it to where a killer that's coming into the area, you know, notices a flag gets taken out. Heads back by that time, probably a second flag, if there's multiple survivors, may be taken out as well. This will stop the killer from just walking in, chasing the survivors off the flags, and then immediately placing more flags. Then, you know, survivors would run back in, destroy said flag, the vanquisher would come back in. The vanquisher. I don't forgot his name. The invader will just walk back in and immediately drop another flag. So to prevent flags from essentially being the same thing that boon totems are, except for boon totems take a significant amount of time to plop down, we can kind of get rid of that for a little bit. Speaking of that, boon totems, I do believe, should have a cooldown after a killer takes out a boon totem. That gives the killer at least a little bit of time to work without the survivor immediately plopping another one down. Behavior, please add a cooldown between boon totems. It's ridiculous how I can go snuff a boon totem, head on my way, and then 14 seconds later, boom, another one's up. No, it's like, yeah, it's like 14 seconds, somewhere around there. Boom, another one pops up. It's like, bro, it's annoying. At least let me get away before you start working on another totem. Yeah, I don't know why they haven't added cooldown yet. Exactly. Galanonim. Pretty said I'll add a 10 to 20-second cooldown each time a flag is broken. Yeah. Now, I don't know why they haven't added cooldowns to boon totems. They just kind of let survivors do whatever they want to do. I'm just glad that they're not hugely popular. Because most people don't want to just run one. When they run boon totems, they want to run an entire boon totem build instead of just running one thing on it. So those that jump in it have all their perks in one basket, and those that don't just stay away from it entirely. There's gonna come a day where a YouTuber is like, hey, try this build. You know, you have Circle of Healing here with these particular perks, or you Shadow Step here with these particular amount of perks, and it's gonna be absolutely terrible. So until they start adding in more and more powerful perks like Boon Exponential and things like that, Boon perks are kind of a flop. They're good for survive with friends, but that's about the end of it. Shut down one of the loops. Downside, you have all your flags in one spot. I could see how that could get pretty ridiculous with the Vanquisher's ability as well. But again, you're kind of putting all your eggs in one basket. Interesting. I never actually thought to ask you that. If you have all three flags in one area and a survivor is running in and you're chasing a survivor within the radius of all three flags, does it still take 20 seconds to charge? Or does it take a third of that time because multiple flags are giving you more charge? You would assume multiple flags are giving you more charge because, like he said, you're putting all eggs in one basket. But if 20 seconds is 20 seconds is 20 seconds, you know? That's interesting. That would make it, what, 6 point something seconds? 6.33 seconds? Being in the radius of all three flags for that to happen? Interesting. I should add a line saying all of the stacks when flags overlap. I mean, you don't necessarily have to, well, nah, you probably should. All effects stack. Definitely should just write a line saying all effects stack. That answers the majority of questions. Well, hmm, that makes this particular line terrifying. If we're talking about multiple flag stacking, that is terrifying. I'll leave it to you. Good luck. Like I said, you can implement whatever you want. You'll either get another comment saying, hey man, your concept's broken, you need to fix it, or everybody will be chill. So it doesn't increase the speed you move at. It locks it at that value. I could see that. I would definitely add in that it locks it at that value. Because then you're going to have somebody complain about this. Is this locked to that value? Is this locked to that value? But definitely just I'll add all that crap in so anybody in the future reading this can completely understand, what's going on, and they don't have to think about all of this in their mind. It's added in anyway, even if it doesn't sound like it needs to be added in anyway. Worst case scenario, you can just add it in like down here with all of this other stuff. You can just add it in at the bottom. It's not necessarily relevant information that you need to know. It's just kind of extra things. Well, not there, but obviously you'll want to add it in here before the add-ons and all of that. Just kind of have a large conglomeration of, hey, if you thought you could get past me with this. Here's the extended explanation of a particular perk. Don't ask me again. Let's see what else this guy has to say. I also love the idea of the Vanquisher not just downing you instant, but allowing the killer to still kind of be right behind you after a hit. He started off so good. He came in kind and kind of backhandedly got into saying things. And then he went back out and tried to be kind after that. This went from being very informative and could be used as a template to just two-faced comments. I mean, there is merit in what he's saying, but still, it's kind of not the 100% correct way to say something or to say that to somebody. So whoever this person is, if you're friends with them, you might be kind of worried of that kind of two-faced behavior. But anyway, I'm gonna get off the psychology thing and hop back onto the Dead by Daylight thing. I also love the idea of the Vanquisher not just downing you instant, but allowing the killer to still kind of be right behind you after a hit. That sounds literally like you might as well just allow them to just down them. Because if a killer can hit you and still continue movement, aka Legion style, it kind of creates the same particular problem, except for you can't get that double Legion tap. But I mean, also on the end, Legion has that cooldown after he double taps somebody as well. Which is why that's there, by the way. It's not to punish you for being successful in using your particular move set. It's to give the survivor space after you hit them. And if you down a survivor, it gives you that cooldown, that major cooldown, so other survivors can adapt accordingly. And it's kind of to punish you from being able to just quick down and quick pick up, do a quick hook. Because if it was that easy and there wasn't that huge cooldown that I know a lot of people don't like on Legion, you could literally find somebody, tap them once with their running power, tap them again, instantly down them, pick them up, take them away, and send them. Game dev said, that's kind of too OP to have a killer that doesn't have any type of cooldown or slowdown and can just keep tapping survivors till they go down. We need to try to balance that. And that's what they got out of it. um, I don't particularly disagree with the ability of the killer to continue on after hitting a survivor. Because, I mean, that entire aspect of the game isn't necessarily realistic. I mean, I know the game's a fantasy game and all of that. Yeah, PTB Legion was a thing. It was. Yeah, I don't even want to relive those days, actually. It turned out so bad, and everybody was just. Ugh. Just, ugh. Don't remind me of those sad times. Honestly, a lot of people thought that Behavior was going to go bankrupt after Legion come back. All the OGs of the community, we were like, this game's dead. It's time to find another game. That's a balancing act that I hope I never have to take part of. And again, Legion was one of Behavior's most fucked up killers. They had to put so much time and effort into that because they almost lost their community introducing Legion. If you weren't part of that particular blip in history. The Legion, Twins, now artist updates have been pretty bad in different ways. um, I read the patch over the Twins, but I mean, I don't play Twins, so I kind of just went on. Because I mean, they nerfed the Death Slinger as well, and they made his where you actually have to aim your gun before you shoot it. No more quick scopes. Now, the Death Slinger obviously was weak. He's always been, for the most part, weak, but I do agree with the nerf of making him actually aim his gun. He got speed boost in other aspects to try to compensate for it, but I mean, picking up a big rifle like that, aiming it, and then putting the rifle back down to where you can actually move with it takes time in real life. I mean, he's a sniper killer. Snipers, if they aren't making their shots and all of that and not lining things up, and predicting where the target's going to go, etc., etc., you're not going to land those shots. So, it kind of is what it is when it comes to Death Slinger. Twins, I mean, I played the public test beta for the Twins. I played them. I remember people just using the midget to block survivors in, and that was no, the opposite. People were trying to get people with the midget, and survivors just hiding in lockers, and there's nothing the midget could do. I would hide in a locker. Oh no, you're not grabbing me, son. I'm gonna jump in this locker, and the moment you go back to your other twin, I'm gonna hop out of the locker and I'm going to leave. And then it turned into a spirit fate game where they tried to fate go back to the other one and then come back to the twin and then go back to the other one, and it was just a very stupid amount of mind games when it came down to all of that. And then they made it to where the twin could just hold you in the freaking locker. I call BS on that. He already has killer instinct if he's near you and you're not crouched or anything. Well, no, I think they changed it to where it's just regular killer instinct. I don't think the crouching negates that anymore, does it? In PTB, if you crouched while you were walking near the twin, the killer instinct wouldn't pick you up, which was huge. But they may or may not have changed that. I think they might have changed it. I'm not sure. I don't know. They've introduced a lot of chapters, and unfortunately, every killer and every survivor that they implement is going to rub the killer or the killers, the community, in a bad way. People do not like change. If you take what they like and you change it, they're not going to like it. It's like me with the doctor. I prefer old doctor, but I mean, I still love playing doctor. I just kind of get over it, and time heals all wounds, so this kind of just gets where it goes. The game's gonna suck, no matter if they change it or leave it the same, so, it is what it is. I think the gold chain add-on could probably cause you cause exposed. What is the gold chain add-on? I generally don't mess with add-ons, but gold chain. While Vanquisher is active, if a survivor disassembles flag, they're marked by Killer Instinct for 10 seconds, or until Vanquisher ends. The radius of a flag is reduced by 4 meters. I think the gold chain add-on could probably cause exposed, because Killer Instinct is kind of a meh reward. Dare you say that Killer Instinct is bad? Killer Instinct is the one of the greatest status effects in the game. Is when Killer Instinct is going, you cannot escape it. Once you are marked, you are marked. It ain't like an ore read or anything like that. Like if barbecue and chili was just Killer Instinct, that would be so OP. You can't lock or hop, you can't do any of that. That's what makes Killer Instinct so powerful and so unique. If not, it would just be a nerfed ore reading. And I think that's what this particular person thinks Killer Instinct is just nerfed ore reading. Like most people think that the Oblivious status effect isn't good. The Oblivious status effect is good when it's applied to, the correct killer in the correct context. But it's not good when it's just being thrown out at a random perk that doesn't really need to incorporate it. Every status effect has its uses and where it's strong at. Legion power should at least let him see the scratch marks. Like full map wide scratch marks, or that's interesting. You're talking about just in general. That's among the smallest of Legion's many, many issues, but agreed. You're talking about just the unchase. Gotcha. Well, as he's running, I should say. I mean, I would agree on the base aspect of Legion being able to see scratch marks. However, there are some add-ons that he doesn't need to see said scratch marks. Like the add-on that lets him have a full map wide tear radius. Like that one, seeing scratch marks isn't necessarily the best. I would take them away for that particular add-on. Any add-ons that, allow him, to break the pallets, have a full wide tear radius, things like that, that have the huge effects that Legion has. I think scratch marks being lost because of that ain't that bad. But base Legion, yeah, I can agree completely. A baby Legion, really has nothing going on for them. Scratch marks being able to be seen is definitely good. And yes, you could actually see scratch marks as Legion in the past. It is indeed true. They did try that. I mean, at the end of the day, Legion isn't a very strong kill. Well, most killers aren't very strong killers unless you're running the appropriate perks and add-ons that support them. The gold chain add-on could probably cause exposed because he thinks Killer Instinct is kind of a meh reward. So if we replace the Killer Instinct with the ability to cause exposure, what was it, 10 seconds? Golden chain. I'm so lost. Here. Isn't that kind of pointless to have exposure for only for 10 seconds though? I mean, unless you're actively inside the flag and heading towards it and you know it's being worked on, the exposure kind of gets power. But if you're not and you're nowhere near, which any smart survivor that's disassembling a flag is going to make sure that you are in a chase, or at least on the opposite side of the map before they start engaging with said flag. I don't think 10 seconds of exposure is really going to help you any. Even cruising, you're still going to be towards the end of that Killer Instinct, or Killer Instinct exposure by the time you get there. And then all that takes is a pallet or a window jump or something like that, and that exposure is gone. I think I would particularly like Killer Instinct and or aura reading. But again, aura reading can be countered by jumping in a locker. Killer Instinct, that's 10 seconds of you know exactly what they're doing and where they're going. They are marked, essentially marked for death if you head towards them. Me personally, I'll always take Killer Instinct over aura reading. It just makes it easier for me personally to get things down. But I mean, I do play Doctor and Ghostface, and I imagine Ghostface showing me somebody's aura instead of their particular Killer Instinct when getting spotted, and it kind of makes me sad because they would literally just hide in locker or something like that, expose me, and then there would be nothing that I can do as they walk by. It's like, oh, well, I just got exposed. Where from? I don't know. I'm just gonna blame it on the common conceptions of the game. Somebody says something, especially if they're, known for playing Dead by Daylight, like Naddled's Darva or Probes or something like that streams all the time, or Coconut. They say something and then people take it to heart and then they memorialize it in their brains completely. And if somebody talks about it, they're instantly like, no, that's not true. This is how this is. And I'm like, did you come up with this? Or did somebody else come up with this? I always throw him under the bus, but Macho is kind of like that. He'll go off of what a pro says and he'll take it to heart. And I'll be like, well, this is kind of bull crap because so and so and so and so. And then he'll quote me word for word what the pro says. And I'm like, yeah, the pro that has 12,000 hours in the game can deal with this. But what about us and the people that are not so good at the game that has to deal with this? We don't have that huge reaction speed and we can't predict everything that's going to happen like they can. It's like, come on back down to Or honestly, I think these bots are there is a system that I don't remember what it's called, that I have the option of logging into through OBS. And during that system, they have messages and things that you're supposed to fill in and say that follow QTASTIC at the bots, like not bot, not night bot, and everything else, to say follow my social media, join the Discord, things like that. I think those bots are part of that particular program. And since I never filled in what they're supposed to say, they just have random things that they say, like Vartech and things like that. I think it might be from that particular program. I mean, it's supposed to be on Twitch side, but it's also going through. It actually says YouTube too, so now it couldn't be that because the thing I signed into was hooked to my Twitch side. Hmm. I guess maybe they're just bots that lurk around. I guess they just give random people free comments or views or something weird. I don't know. What I've learned from it is don't bother blocking them. Because I've blocked a total of 20 of these bots. And guess what? They just keep coming back. So I try to ignore them. So if it's a program that I have, as I'm blocking them, it's just regenerating more bots. Or if it's just a bot type thing that's just running on YouTube, that YouTube just hasn't fixed yet or gotten a handle of, then it's not possible to get rid of them. It's not. They're like ants. I've gotten to the point to where I just ignore them. It's like if you're gonna give me a bot, at least give me a bot that somehow talks, a little bit of English or something. Tell it to like, comment, and subscribe or something. Buy me a new controller via PayPal. Make it say something that's useful, but Vartech means nothing to me. I don't know what this is. It's not really advertising anything. It's not really serving any type of purpose. Could be a message from the future. Could also be slowly taking the IP address of everybody. Me, you, Gritty, everybody. And they're just storing them for one super cybernetic attack. I don't know. Let's see. Those bots took over the group chat. Yeah, they did, and they get through to my Discord too, and it's annoying. It's when I check my Discord for any messages I might have missed. All I see is bot, 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 bot. And spam hundreds and hundreds of links. Are those popping up as links? See, I don't see them as links. It just says vark.tech. Oh, I didn't even know that they were links. Interesting. I wonder if I ban links from being posted in chat. No, they're not. Oh, alright. Oh, you're talking about the cybernetic attack spamming links. I got you. You can't send link in the YouTube chat. I think I might have my links actually on to be embedded because I don't have a huge audience. I don't remember if I turned them on or off, but there's the option to. I can make it to where you can send links in chat. It is optional per YouTuber. It's part of the creator's dashboard. Yeah, I don't have any moderation bots or anything like that, so you should be fine posting a link, and if you do happen to get banned, I'll just unban you. No, it doesn't pop as link. Interesting. Alright. That means I probably turned it off. But you know. Actually, I probably turned it off as soon as those bots started coming in. But yeah, I can turn it on at any moment. But obviously, that's not something I particularly want to do with all of these bots coming in with the VART.tech. Let's see what else this guy had to say. Golden chain can cause exposure. Killer instinct is a main reward. Once they break the flag, you can visibly see which one was taken because the aura will be gone and the smaller radius is pretty sad. Downside. It's an iridescent add-on. What do you mean that smaller radius is pretty sad downside, or is a pretty sad downside? And you can visibly see which one was taken. What killer, without having any type of auditory or anything like that, would notice that something is gone? You would have to be the most observant person in the world if generators and survivor unhooks and everything else didn't notify you that they were happening. You would be more eyes on than you would be chasing, because you would have to chase somebody and still keep checking around your surroundings at all times to make sure things weren't popping. That is insane. You'll notice the aura being gone of a flag. I don't think you would, because you're going to be in chase, you're going to be gen patrol, and you're going to be focusing on particular survivors. I don't think you would notice a flag just magically disappearing unless you're in your interim period. Plus, if they are breaking flags during Vanquisher, they are taking a pretty big risk already, and that's the place where the killer is most powerful. Whoever said that survivors are going to break flags during Vanquisher? Why would you run towards a particular flag during Vanquisher unless the killer's on the opposite side of the map? I mean, that's obviously the go to actually go and do that, but you can break flags whenever. They don't have to be in Vanquisher to start breaking flags. I think this guy is misunderstanding something with this. I'm gonna act like it doesn't exist. Woo! Hex chronophobia is a really awesome idea for a perk, but my one gripe with it is the 3 tokens reward kinda conflicts with the 4 token reward because block gens can't regress. He is correct, but block gens can't regress. I don't remember what chronophobia does. After a generator begins regressing, your movement speed is increased for 10% for 10 seconds. This doesn't stack. When a survivor's hook, all generators are blocked for 10 seconds. How do they interrupt with each other? I don't understand that. This is about the same as running the gens are blocked for 10 seconds, the 4th token only activated after hitting a survivor. Yeah, I'm not understanding this. The gens are blocked for 10 seconds, the 4th token only activated after hitting a survivor. Exactly. Unless survivors are being massive idiots, it doesn't change anything. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's like running Ruin and Thrilling Tremors. Exactly, or running Ruin and Pop. Because, I mean, Pop doesn't work with Ruin, but if you lose your Ruin, then you have Pop to fall back on. Not that it's useless, it's that it's just a secondary, thing to cover yourself. If a generator's regressing, then it's regressing. But if survivors are working on generators, it blocks the survivors from being able to work on generators for 10 seconds, which is an eighth of a generator. And it's like ruin and thrilling trimmers. It forces survivors off of generators for, what, 16 seconds? That's good time that they're off. It doesn't necessarily have to be regressing during that time. It's the whole fact of 16 seconds aren't being put onto a particular generator. But I guess it doesn't really force them off because it only works on generators that survivors aren't working on. But still, it's like the the artists, whatever their pinheads are. No, it's the artists. When you hook somebody, the most worked on generator pops. You know, it's like running corrupt intervention and ruin. It blocks the generators, but I mean, at the beginning of the match, it doesn't matter. Nothing's going to be really regressing. I don't know what this guy's talking about. 3-token reward conflicts with the 4-token reward. Specifically states when a survivor is hooked, all generators are blocked for 10 seconds, which is great. And then when you hit a survivor with a basic attack, all currently regressing generators begin regressing 100% faster. What's the issue? One's on hit, one's on hook. What's your issue? By the time you down the survivor, it's going to take around 10 seconds for you to get the hook. So as you're hitting the survivor, you're going to get about, 8 to 10 seconds of regression, 100% faster, which is ruin speed, or if you go ruin, it's going to be 300% speed on top of ruin. Then when you hook a survivor, the generators are going to be blocked for 10 seconds instead of regressing. So that's time off gen as well. I don't know. I don't know where this guy's coming from. But I guess it's nice to have an outward look on something. Well, this is kind of like a tertiary opinion. It isn't correct by any, well, I can't say it's not correct. I can't agree with it by any aspects because I don't see the issue there, but it's nice to at least have that thrown out. For Hex Challenger, I think it would be fun if the killer moved 25% extra speed and the survivor moves 20%. And has the stun thing that way versus your challenger. It's a really fast paced and high octane chase. It would also make sense for the survivor to get maybe a 10% volt speed increase or something. He didn't do the math. He didn't do the math. He, he didn't do the math. I'm gonna do the math just to see, just to show you how funny this is. Killer's gonna move 25%. So 25% of 4.6 is equal to 1.5. 4.6 plus 1 point, what was it, 1.15? 1.15. Bum 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 bum. Plus 1.15 is equal to 5.75. Type that in chat. And then survivors are getting a 20% speed increase. 20% of 4. It's 0.8. 4 plus 0.8, obviously, is 4.8. is equal to 4.8. 0.8 is equal to 4.8. Regular, there is a 0.6 difference in between the 5.75 and the 4.8. There's generally only a 0.6 difference. Now you're up to what? 9 point or 0.95 difference? With how I do it, killers should move at 5.6 while survivors move at 4.8. So, I'll get to that in a minute, Critty. So what we have here, and if you take a 5.75 minus 4.8, you get 0.95. Now, based off of what this particular person just said, is I think it'd be fun to have the killer move at 25% extra speed and the survivor moves at, I'm going to assume this is 20% extra speed, and has the stun thing. That way versus your challenger, it's a really high paced and high octane chase. It would also make sense for the survivor to get maybe a 10% vault speed increase or something. By base, the killer is 0.6 meters per second faster than the survivor. So every second, a killer is going to get 0.6 meters on you. With the increase that this guy just suggested, the killer is going to be 0.95 meters per second faster than what the survivor is. So they're essentially going to be gaining a meter per second on a particular survivor. How is this faster? Yeah, faster for the survivor to go down. How is this higher octane? Yeah, the survivor is going to be moving at a little bit more speed, but not very much. The survivor is going to be moving at just about regular killer speed, and the killer is going to be zooming. How does that seem fair? And then to try to balance out this almost meters per second, he wants to add in the fact that the stun and everything else. So let's go actually back up to this. The stun that lasts 25% longer. I went over this the other day. I think it ended up being like, what, an extra second or so or something like that. He's getting rid of, I guess, the negative status effects because he says nothing about it. And then a 10% volt speed increase. 10% is not enough to make your medium volt a fast volt. And because you're increasing the killer speed, the killer will get to that particular volt speed increase, making it almost useless. If you can guarantee that you're hitting fast volts all the time, you can use this 10% volt speed increase. But if you can't guarantee that you're going to keep hitting fast volts, and you're also going to have a killer approaching 0.95 meters per second, you're going to have an issue. The volt speed increase means nothing. Yes, it is significant. It's almost 2 times the boost you get from Spine Chill. It does mean, it does mean something, but it doesn't turn a medium volt into a fast volt. You would have to somehow make your volt speed increase on a medium volt enough to make it as fast as a fast volt. So you would essentially just need to write the code to say all slow and medium volts become, well, I guess all medium volts become a fast volt. You just need to write that in the code to prevent all of this volt speed increases, and then you would have to make it to where fast vaults aren't affected by this. Because the fast vault getting a huge, significant speed boost is amazing. Anytime you fast vault, you'll never have to worry about getting hit. Ever. So, if you wanted to take the time and pull this apart, just add in the clause that all medium vaults become fast vaults, and don't even go in. Keep it simple. Don't even go in and try to do the vault speeds and all of this other craziness. Because if you ain't fast vaulting, you're getting bopped. That is the end of that, because the killer has so much speed. Stun value isn't going to matter because, again, you've increased killer speed. Unless you have the reactions of a god and the patience and everything to not get, the killer has patience and the survivor has reaction speed, you are rarely going to get a stun at that speed. Killer's just gonna fake, you're gonna drop the pallet, he's going to break said pallet, chase is going to continue. Not a lot. Not very well. And if it's not a, God pallet or a loot pallet or something like that, killer might just walk around the pallet and pursue you. Because you ain't going to be able to do that pallet left to right type thing where you get stuck in between the pallet and you just keep jumping back and forth. That's really not going to work for you with just a 10% vault speed increase. Now, if all vaults are fast vaults, you have the option of continuing that speed and you might be able to get away with it. Maybe. But then all the killer has to do is do the usual fakes and you fall for it and he's got you. Not to mention that this particular perk works with every single killer in the game and stacks with whatever speed boost and any other particular perks that the killer actually wants to run. That's the main thing. This guy only sees your killer and how this applies to your particular killer. As he says there, versus your challenger. But what happens when you're versing Baba, or you're versing Legion, or you're versing Spirit, or you're versing Plague, or you're versing any killer that has a one hit down? Or anything like that? Challenger doesn't need to stack with other perks, to be fair. But I mean, I'm not even talking about, well, I guess I did say perks. I meant to say add-ons, other add-ons. Because Baba has his cord add-ons that he can add. Not perks, add-ons. I misspoke. It's on me. I was thinking add-ons and I said perks. But yeah, a corded Baba or, any other type of killer that has an increase in speed. That goes in with that 25% extra speed increase, which gives killers even more of an advantage on top of everything else. Survivors have the exhaustion status effect, so even if you get away with like an overwhelm or overcome, giving you that huge speed boost stack with this, yes, you can get that distance away, but then you're exhausted and can't use your dead hard or anything else if you decide to use overcome. So there's another reason why, the main reason why this ain't gonna work. If you try to incorporate something like this into just your particular killer, then there would be some bargaining chips on the table. The fact that even camping Bubba with a chainsaw can even get this, terrifying. And last perk. An interesting idea for a chasing perk for survivors. I don't love the idea of a non-exhaustion perk that slows the killer. But also having this perk might mean you don't have a better perk, so maybe it's balanced, but kind of a hard one to judge without it actually existing. I think Play with Fire is just a no mither buff, so I'm a fan. Come on. Started with chase, all action speeds are increased by 8% for 15 seconds. During that time, if you stun the killer with Pallet, they will be slowed by 5% for the next 5 seconds. You can only activate once every 40 seconds. Don't love the idea of a non-exhaustion perk that slows the killer. So you're complaining because this doesn't give you any type of exhaustion? He's complaining that I guess this can technically stack with smash hit, maybe? Is that what he's talking about? Because I mean, that's simple. Change the 5 seconds for being slowed, and then it'll stack with smash hit completely fine. I mean, you don't get that far with smash hit. It's not that great. And smash hit only works if you have a path that you are going to afterwards. If you just slam the pallet down and then you continue running out in a random direction, you're wasting value from smash hit. So I mean, literally, I mean, it's only a 5% slowdown. It's not too terribly, breaking for a killer to be slowed down by 5%. 10%, we would have to talk, but 5%'s not that bad. I don't see why this particular perk has to exhaust you. Oh no, I slowed them down. I guess it's technically 8 seconds of slow, but I mean, it's not, I don't see it as being that bad. But I guess knock that down for like 3 seconds maybe, and that should fix any other problems that he particularly has with that. Idea of a non-exhaustion perk that slows the killer. Well, here's a non-exhaustive perk that slows killer. It's called a pallet. It's called a window. And technically, decisive strike. I don't think decisive causes exhaustion, does it? It might. I don't remember. I ain't used it in forever. Only in one use, though. And I could probably name a couple if I took the time to think about it that would slow killer down in some form or way without causing exhaustion status effect. Like adrenaline. Adrenaline, I don't think causes exhaustion. It might. I don't know. I haven't ran these perks in forever. Why when I'm doing actual recording or pre-records of particular content, I go in and I search everything that I want to talk about. So I ain't gotta sit here and spitball. I just have the information. Don't look up adrenaline. I just thought about it. That it. I think Play with Fire is just the no mither buff, so I'm a fan. No mither is supposed to be hard mode. Survivor perk. Play with Fire, After making a loud noise, you're exposed for 40 seconds, but you also have all action speeds increased by 12% for the same amount of time. Play with Fire can only activate once every 80 seconds. I guess if you make a Yeah, that's why I said don't look up adrenaline. I just thought about it. Yeah, I remembered that. Yeah. I mean, if you're about to go down, I guess you can hop a window, then go down and use that 12% speed on top of Unbreakable and everything else you have nowadays to increase recovery speed. But I mean, the only way No Mither is fathomable to use is when you're doing Survive with Friends or a Gank Squad, because you ain't gonna run No Mither solo and get much value out of all of these increases in speeds and other survivors. When I see somebody running No Mither, I instantly think, well, we're one man down. I mean, any killer that's actually good will just tunnel out the No Mither user and send him on his way. One hit down, easy hookings, not playing with friends or a gank squad. Oh boy, you're getting tunneled. You're being sent on your way. I'm about ready to 3v1 killer against three other survivors. We're about ready to get this done quick as possible. At least that's my mythology if I see somebody running No Mither. But also, if I see somebody running No Mither, I instantly think, oh, it's a gank squad. So then I try to change what I'm doing. Because obviously, the person that has No Mither has the superior looping tech and everything else. So that person you don't want to go up against when he has three other survivors backing him. You need to get his support out from under him first. Find out who's going to be the gen rushing Betty, the guy that's designed to just go and do gen after gen after gen after gen. And, get which people are assigned to what. Most gang squad has a lookout, which lets the other person streaming or whatever know exactly where the killer is at all times. They do literally nothing but tagging around killer, pointing or calling out where he's at and what he's doing. So the guy running No Mither doesn't get juked or anything like that. No Mither guy is usually the Twitch streamer or the content creator that runs around being a butt to the killer. Then you generally have a backup person that gen rushes with the main person, and then you just need to find out what those two particular roles are. And if you can stop them from gen rushing you, then their whole plan just kind of goes in the garbage. The No Miler guy would be that person because of resilient speed boost while in jet repair speed boost. Nah, usually the No Miler guy's the content creator. It's all for content. Now, if you're talking non-content wise, obviously, the Gen Rusher would be the No Mither guy because he has all of the repair speed boosts. I'm thinking of gank squads. No Mither guys are the content creators because they're trying to show their butts and trying to get content out of a frustrated killer. It's what they do. I have faced plenty of gank squads. I know the setup and I know how to slap them down. Now, if they're cool about it, and there's streams of me, well, I guess the audio didn't make it through that particular stream. But during that, you could hear me talking about, okay, this guy might be part of a gank squad, but at least I was saying to myself, because audio didn't go through. I was like, this guy's part of a gank squad. I'm going to let him escape, but I'm not going to make it easy for him. And you can see the part where I downed him in the basement. It was his last hook, and I just left him there and walked away and let him get back up. Like I could have ended his entire content there. I took him all the way to the basement. I put him in front of the hook to say, hey, I won. And then I dropped him. And then I went after one of his boys and let them get him up. I ran around with him, letting him show his butt, but keeping pressure on it to make the content look all good and nice for him. And then at the end, I chased them and downed them right outside the exit door, forcing them to use heal tech to get him out of the door. So, I mean, I know how to handle gang squads, and I could have won that match, but I mean, it was for his content, and I decided I was in a good mood, and I'll play along with him. He never disrespected me. He said GG, things like that. I wasn't, ganked. I went and surrounded by flashlights and things like that. They kind of gave me my distance, let me do what I wanted to do. So I was like, fine, I'll give you the content. Other times, I'm up against, the bully squads that literally just want to bully killer, and I down them one at a time, hook them, send them on their way. Because I know they're not doing gens. They'll get down to the last gen and then they'll just come bully you, thinking they're gonna escape. I'm like, no, brother, you ain't escaping. Not today. Um, this guy's comments, some were good, some were bad, but he opened up doors to new ideas and new concepts, so it's not useless. He said what he needed to say, and then kind of got out. So I appreciate what you say, but I'm not going to give you a vote up, even though you were helpful. But you helped in an indirect way of being kind of off the wall sometimes, that it just gives us something to think about. And sometimes you need crazy off the wall people to know if you're doing well or not. Also, welcome whoever's Twitch side, because I generally don't do these. I actually forgot to turn off Twitch side, so welcome Twitch side person. I generally only do these on YouTube side, youtube.com/the_. Well, I guess it's just the space QTASTIC. Same Twitch name. You can find me on YouTube. It's flooded with Dead by Daylight content. Whoever's on Twitch side. So this is a rare day that I guess I'm doing dual Twitch and dual YouTube. Whoops. Kind of sad that it's on today because there's really no new content. I have the Mimic, which is just 2 new comments posted, and I have 1 of the Gremlins Killer, and that's about it. But hey, I guess since I've went through and went over everything, why not do another concept and give the Twitch people a sort of semi-review of what I do. Every stream that I've done, which I've been doing this since like Octoberish, can all be found on the QTASTIC on YouTube. Everything's archived. Set to come back again. He essentially says that this killer is hard countered by SWF. And then Pizza came in and says that just use the Mimic from Black Ops Cold War. That requires licensing, by the way. It's not something that we want to do. Alright, so. Well, this is an old concept, though. It's not even new. It was back in May 28th. Ah. I can't even give you the full experience. Gremlin Killer. He wants to use the AI from zombies from the Resident Evil chapter of Dead by Daylight to open Gremlin Killers, to where you can have just different AI gremlins running around doing things. Essentially, he wants to take the regular basic zombie and he wants to give them abilities, and each different gremlin can do something. It's an old concept. I've read that before. It's not even new. So I guess the full experience really can't be grabbed. But anybody watching, I don't know if Twitch actually puts my link in the description and all of that. Go to the Space Qtastic and YouTube. The links for the forum, which is right there at the top of the page, if you can see that, is there. I put the description in almost every single link of Dead by Daylight reviews that I do. I went over a lot of different concepts and a lot of different things, all the way back to probably like page 5-ish, I think is when I probably started doing reviews. Maybe page 7. There have been some cosmetic designs and things like that. But it's already been an hour and 45 minutes. So we're going to go into the discussing random topics. So anything that you would like to ask me, know about me, or just discuss any type of random topic going on in the world, or etc., etc., because I have like 15 minutes left over, go ahead and shoot. We can talk about the name of your cat, as far as I care. I have extra time. I do not mind. If nobody says anything within that particular time, then within the next couple of minutes, then I might just do like a couple of games of Sideswipe or something. If my computer don't crash. It don't like Sideswipe. Alright, well, while I wait for any question, comments, concerns, feel free to stop by the QTASTIC on YouTube. Subscribe. I would turn off notifications or anything like that, but because you don't get bombarded by every single stream that I do, because I have been doing multiple streams a day. But yeah. Have you bought something on the Steam sale? No, I actually haven't bought anything off Steam in 3 years now. Something like that. Everything that I've gotten has either been free or somebody else has bought it for me as a gift, and I've just played it. It's been a long time since I've bought anything. I've been surrounded by happy friends that, well, I mean, they waste their money anyway, but, you know, they're like, hey, Q, let's play this game together. And I'm like, sure. I mean, I'm not going to buy it because it's not really my cup of tea, but if you buy it for me, I'll play it with you. And they'll be like, all right, dude, I'll buy it. You know, it's only like 15 bucks. I'm like, cool. They buy it. Things go well. We play it. Whether we finish or not, it's kind of up in smoke, whatever. But we have a fun time playing it. You know, we troll each other. Do all the other things friends generally do when we're playing together. The only thing that I've ever been sad about is Dark Souls 2 playthrough that I played with a particular person, Macho, who never played the DLC. So we went through and we played Dark Souls 2 together. You know, we beat all the bosses and everything together. And we got all the way, you know, we went and found the items and everything that's required in Dark Souls 2 to start the DLC. As soon as we got to the part of starting DLC, son of a gun said, well, I'm kind of burnt out on Dark Souls, you know. I've beat this game before, and I don't think I want to play this game anymore. And I'm like, bro, the whole point of us playing together was to check out the DLC, and you beat the regular game and then stop playing. Until this day, anytime something or we play a game together, I always bring up Dark Souls 2. It has scarred me for life. Those of you you've played Dark Souls 2 before, you know how long it takes to get through Dark Souls and all of the slog that you have to go through to get to where you're trying to go. A lot of people don't like Dark Souls 2. They like the DLC. The DLC is very well put together. Except for the last DLC that Dark Souls 3 finished or put out. Dark Souls 2 had some of the best DLC going for it between all of the Dark Souls. I finished Dark Souls 1 and 3. I played Dark Souls 2 via my friend library. Fair enough. I have played and beaten all 3 of the Dark Souls. Just don't ask me what happened. I played 1 when I was extremely, extremely, extremely young, and I don't remember much of 1. I beat that. 2, I mean, this is my most recently played Dark Souls. Obviously, me and Macho played it through, so I can remember more of that. Dark Souls 3, I played it when it came out. I did not play any DLCs, though, for Dark Souls 3. I just watched a walkthrough on the DLCs. I also like the PvP arena. That was where I spent most of my time, Dark Souls 3 wise, is PvP. Invasions, PvP, etc. I wasn't very good at the game, so gank squats would literally destroy me, but it's fun. But I stopped after a few hours. Yeah, most people don't make it through Black or Dark Souls 2, especially if you played any of the other Dark Souls before 2. Yep. If you played 3 first, most people hate 2. I actually liked Dark Souls 2 because it made you commit to your actions. That was the main thing that it got me with Dark Souls 2. If you took that swing, you were stuck there for the entire swing. There were no swing cancels. There was no hyper armor. There wasn't any of that. If you rolled through and you got hit, you got hit for the most part. I mean, there was a very small amount of iframes that if you played the game enough, you could iframe through a direct hit, but it was very hyper, more realistic than Dark Souls 3 when it came to things. If you're swinging a heavy sword, you're not going to be able to stop and roll halfway through a swing. The sword's going to continue to move. And that's the aspect that I like of Dark Souls 2. So more of the clunkiness that most people say. I like the commits. I like games that are actually based off of your technique and your decision making as opposed to you being scared or low on health and being able to just rapidly roll till you get out of the situation. Or, getting hit in hyper armor from Dark Souls 3, just nullifying the fact that you got hit. Very frustrating in Dark Souls 3 because an expert dodger or an expert parrier, for the most part, could take you down very easy. And it didn't come from more experience of the game and how to actually, play it to when it comes through how well you can use the mechanic that the game has to your advantage. The iframes, the hyper armor, the perseverance, and everything like that. And a lot of people will disagree with me. And I mean, I know Dark Souls 2 was a glitchy mess, and some of the hitboxes and other things like that were very jank. But it was an early rendition. If they would go back in and remaster Dark Souls 2 to fix all of that issues, and they just left the combat to where, you commit, you're kind of stuck, I would be completely fine with it. But that's not going to happen because Dark Souls 2 has been thrown into the blacklist for most people, and they wouldn't play a remaster unless it was like Dark Souls 3, where they could openly move and do whatever they wanted. I like the enhanced movement and all of that, but I don't like the fact that to cover for latency, you can just roll, get hit, and roll through that hit, keep your health, and then immediately counteract. I know roll catches are a thing, but still. That's just my particular 2 cents on the Dark Souls. I like combat games, and I like the fact that if somebody tries to strike you, you can counter, stun, move out of the way, slash, hit, do whatever you need to do. But once you commit to like a heavy attack or something like that, or something crazy, you can't heavy attack, then immediately roll out of the way like you didn't just use up a significant amount of momentum and energy to make that swing. What was the most painful to me in Dark Souls 3, for example, is how certain spells were just useless but look cool as heck. Yeah, they did have some useless spells or spells that only worked in certain situations. But heck, if you've seen Elden Ring, they tried to make most of their spells be at least useful, and at least from what I've seen, they tried to make most of their spells useful, and some are just they look like they're OP. But I mean, I know it's the inexperience of the game that makes spells look OP, obviously. But I mean, come on, man. Like some of the spells in Elden Ring, I'm like, holy crap, dude! How are you supposed to dodge that if nobody will gonna use it? Well, yeah, you might find somebody with a meme build that use it. I'll have to. Oh, you never seen anything from Elden Ring? Oh man, definitely. They had like a pre-beta, I guess is what you would call it, or something like that, that they allowed people to play for a little bit of time. Check out a YouTube that had access to that beta, and you can see that Elden Ring was, whoo, it's it's gonna be a banger, but it's gonna be ridiculous, like absolutely ridiculous, especially if you're a spellcaster. They got rid of some things that a lot of people don't like backstabs, for example, don't exist in Elden Ring. So that aspect of PvP is now gone, and shields have been significantly buffed from what I've seen. There's only a couple of things that you can really use as of that particular release that you could shield break people. So anybody running around with a shield, it's kind of hard to get rid of it, and you can't get around them and then backstab them for that insane damage. You can get around it and bop them, and they take, one hit of whatever the attack you used. I usually try spell casting in my second playthrough in Dark Souls. I just try using everything. I ain't gonna lie. I mix it up so many times. I really do. Sometimes you play a little bit through and then you're like, I'm tired of this build, and you just go for another build. If I eventually in the future will get Elden Ring. Yeah, definitely. If you haven't seen Elden Ring, I suggest actually looking that up on YouTube and seeing what's what, because that is absolutely positively a gorgeous and amazing looking game. I will do it on the first. Well, whenever you got time. All right, we have ran out of time. I am down to my last minute or so. I am extremely hungry. Uh, I need to get some food. Thanks for stopping by. Galanonim, Pretty, whoever else is over there on Twitch side, my silent lurker. I appreciate you all stopping by. I hope you guys had happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whichever one you prefer. Happy times in general. And I hope to see you guys sometime in the future. I don't know when the next time I'll actually stream being, because the forum, unfortunately, is for the most part empty. And I just figured I would jump on and make one just kind of after Christmas stream to see if I can pull anybody in and just kind of chat and do whatever. So, Stay cool, stay classy. Next time you feel angry or frustrating, take a deep breath, supplement your lifestyle, and I'll see you later.